Hey. Hey. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to do the Course in Miracles. And obviously it's going to be a really deep class. There's nobody here today except the 6 of us. And that's a lot smaller than it usually is. And that usually happens when there's a very special class that's supposed to come down that calls for more intimacy and more communication with each other. And so the only thing we have to remember to make it easy to do that is that the guidelines to the course is that you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it. Some of it you might find hard to believe, some of it might be really, really startling. But if you use it, you'll see that it's true. So what's really cool is to think of this class as an opportunity to hear something that might be different from what you're used to thinking. But even better than that, I'd like you to be on the lookout for whatever statement that's said today that might be your own special message for coming today, which might not have anything to do with necessarily what the Course in Miracles says. So don't look at it like you're trying to understand the Course. Don't even look at it like I'm asking you to agree with me about anything, because I'm not trying to convert anybody. So I'm not here to convince you about anything. What we're doing is coming together to share whatever this is saying together, take away from it whatever we can take away, and drop all the rest of it. And then that's how you get it. Is that cool with everybody? Okay, it uses, the Course in Miracles, it basically is saying that there are the 2 ways that we're looking at things. That we're looking at things either from a perspective that makes us feel peace, or we're looking at it from a perspective that makes us feel conflict. Then it goes on to say what you want to do is learn how to let go of all the thoughts, feelings, and emotions and blocks that keep you from having peace. Because when you do that, you'll be able to hear your own inner guidance. And so what the Course in Miracles is trying to do is create a dialogue between you and your greater self, you and your divine self, you and your Holy Spirit, you and your God self. So a lot of times I think that we lose sight of the fact that if you're in conflict, you can't hear your guidance clearly. So the most important thing is to get rid of conflict. The mistake that I have made in the past, and the Course teaches that most people make, is they think that the way they get rid of conflict is to try to manipulate something in the outer world to be the way they want it to be so they won't be upset. I know you all have never done that, but I just thought I'd share that, Okay, so the page that I'm covering it's on page 42 in the teacher's manual. The teacher's manual is it's 3 books in one. So the teacher's manual, I got another extra one over here too. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this the way that it's written, and then I'm going to come back, and then we're going to hear it again until we get what we can basically say is what's the point that's being made, whether we believe that point or not. I say it again. We want to get to what the point is being made, whether I accept that or not. So I'm going to emphasize again that I'm going to welcome discussion and questions, but none of my responses is going to be about convincing anybody of anything. Okay? There's nothing you can ask me from the Course in Miracles that I can't tell you what the Course in Miracles says that is about it. But that might not be an answer that you're ready to accept yet. So it's not important. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes I don't know about you, but I used to feel like unless I believed something and understood something that wasn't true, or unless I agreed with what you were saying, then what you were saying was not true. Unless I said that what you were saying is true. Can you see how that's such a limited perception? That everything has to be, I'm the arbiter of what is real and about everything. It's true if I think it's true. So this section has been talking about how you should spend your day if you're really serious about demonstrating the truth or demonstrating love. If you're not jiving, in other words, I like to break it down. If you're not jiving, this is the way you live the truth. This is the way you spend your day. And so the Course says if you're really awake, then in the morning you're going to realize that you don't have to make any plans for today, because everything that you need to deal with today, Spirit's going to put in your path today. And Spirit's going to also teach you how to deal with it. And you know that everybody is in your life today that you need to have in your life today, and everybody that needs to be here today is here today, and everybody that doesn't need to be here today is not here today. So that's the way I'm supposed to look at everything that happens for the rest of the day. That everything that happens to me the rest of the day is coming to me as part of the lesson I need to learn to remember that I'm loved, to remember that I'm spirit, to remember who I really am. So that's why everything's going to show up today, and everybody's going to be here today that I need. All right? If you advance, that's the way you live your life. You know that you're going to be taken care of, and you know that everything you need is going to be presented to you. Then the course says, then if you're not aware of that, then you need a little bit more discipline, which means the first thing you do when you get up in the morning is you focus on something that's about the truth and not about the world. You give yourself some time every day that you got some kind of a spiritual study or something that you're trying to open your mind up to, and you focus on that truth. He says, and you focus on that truth until it starts to get difficult and your mind starts to wander. And then the Course says, and when your mind wanders, keep on trying to do it for another couple of minutes. And if the resistance doesn't go away, then that's time for you to stop. If the resistance does go away and you find that you can focus back in some more, then he says, keep on going. And that the only thing that we had to be really on top of all day is the temptation to rely on ourselves alone and try to do things without asking for God's guidance, Spirit's guidance. So every morning I'm supposed to focus in on the truth. He said, if possible, do it again before you go to bed at night also. It's amazing how many times I want to change in my life, but I wasn't willing to give anything, any attention or any study in order to bring about that change. I just kind of just like wanted it to happen. You know what's really cool though? If you don't do anything, you're still going to learn. If you don't pick up another book for the rest of your life, everything that your life is going to present you with is going to bring you to the point that you love yourself. So it's built into the system. I like that. You know, but there are two kinds of curriculums. There's an easy one and a hard one. So I would like the easy curriculum to get to the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what the Course in Miracles is about. It's about how do you get to it in a way that's the easiest way you've ever gotten to anything in your life. And then it says, well, what is the easiest way that I've ever gotten to everything I've ever wanted in my life? Just by changing my mind and then watching everything around me change. That would be the easiest way that you could change your life, would be for you to change your mind and then watch everything around you reflect that change of mind. That's not doing, that's being, that's seeing. So that's the little quick catch up. And so I'm gonna read this these two paragraphs, 10 and 11, and then I'm gonna tell you after 30 years I can pretty much just shoot back at you basically what it's saying, but I also want, again, for you to, if you're interested in the Course in Miracles at all, this would be a perfect time to have the book before you looking at the paragraph as I go through it, because one of the biggest tricks that the mind plays on us is that the Course in Miracles is difficult to read. It's not that the Course in Miracles is difficult to read, it's just that most people don't want to read it. That's and saying that it's too difficult to read is just an excuse not to read it. That's really what's going on. And that's okay, but that's, you know, I'm just trying to tell the truth about what I do with myself. I play with myself, right? So here we go. He says, there's no substitute for the will of God. In simple statement, it is to this fact that the teacher of God devotes his day. Each substitute that you have for the will of God that you may accept as real can but deceive you. But you are saved from deception if you so decide. So I'm going to read it in a way that makes it personal. Perhaps you need to remember God is with me, I can't be deceived. Perhaps you prefer other words, only one word or none at all. Yet each temptation to accept magic, and magic, it says in the previous paragraph, is that magic is nothing but an attempt to place reliance on yourself alone without God. So magic is anything a person thinks that they're doing by themselves. Anything that you think you're doing by yourself on your own is magic. Because there's nothing, I didn't make this microphone, I didn't make this book, I didn't make this table, I didn't make this camera, I didn't make the car I drove over here, I didn't make the street at this level. So there's nothing I've done today that I've done alone. I wouldn't be here if it was all about me. If you had to depend on me making the street, me making the car, me making the, I wouldn't be here talking to y'all right now. So the whole idea that we're doing anything on our own is a completely ridiculous idea. It's not true at all. There's no such thing as a self-made man or woman. So the Course says, I love it, the humor of that, telling me, do you want to know what magic is, Earl? Magic is anything that you think you're doing without me. That's magic. And so it says right here, perhaps each temptation to accept magic is true must be abandoned through your recognition, not that you trying to do it by yourself is fearful, not that you're trying to do it by yourself is sinful, not that you trying to do it by yourself is dangerous, but merely that you trying to do it by yourself is meaningless. You trying to do it by yourself is meaningless. It's not dangerous, it's not sinful, it's not bad, it's just meaningless. Then it says, rooted in sacrifice and separation, two aspects of one era and no more. You merely choose to give up all you never had, and for the sacrifice of giving up all you never had is heaven restored to your awareness. So basically in that paragraph, what I heard was that I need to devote myself to the idea all day long that God is with me and I can't be deceived. That love is with me, I can't be deceived. The truth is with me, I can't be deceived. Now, what does that mean? How can I make that practical? Well, what I'm going to do right now, what I'm going to do when I walk out of here, I'm going to take what I've just been told and I'm going to apply it to everything that happens to me the rest of the day. So that means that I'm going to, all day long, every time I get the slightest temptation to believe that I'm doing it by myself, to remind myself that I'm not doing anything by myself. Every time I hear myself saying, I'm going to figure this out, I'm going to come up with a way to handle this, I'm going to try to make this happen. As soon as I hear any of those stupid words come out of my mouth, I'm going to try to remember at that moment that I need to, that's magic. And then I'm going to try to remind myself, you know something, Cheryl, I had a magic thought today that I had to try to figure out how I was going to get the money to take care of a bill that came up unexpectedly. I had a magic thought that I was going to have to figure out how to get that money. Then I had another magic thought about who I needed to talk to get it. See, you start using a different language, because as soon as you say magic thought, it's going to trigger you that you're trying to place reliance on yourself alone. So I like the idea of me being like the Black David Copperfield. You know, I'm a magician. I'm always making it look like Earl is taking care of himself and that Earl is doing it on his own. And Earl is being supported because Earl teaches classes, and then Earl travels all over the country, and then Earl gets paid for doing that. And see, that's all magic. It's God that's sustaining me every step of the way. And the thing that I'm physically doing is just my playful way. It's just me playing. It's just me expressing myself in a playful way, just like I did when I was a kid and I played cowboys and Indians. I really wasn't the Lone Ranger, but I had a fun time pretending I was. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get me? You hear me? You know, so when you go to work tomorrow, it's magical. And so what would happen if you went to work tomorrow and called it magical? Just saying that makes me feel like, wow, magical. That's cool. I don't mind doing a little magic, but at the same time, saying magical is also making me aware that I'm somehow believing that I'm taking care of myself. And that's the only form of magic there is, thinking that the universe isn't what's sustaining you, but it's your ego. Okay, that's what I heard out of that paragraph. But anybody else, what y'all hear out of it?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why do I so badly want to cling to that thought that I'm doing it?
Well, there's a variety of reasons why. One of the most common reasons is when you recognize that you learn to look at it that way. Number one, and I think I'm alone. So if I think I'm alone, then I think I need to be self-sufficient, because I've been taught that that's what an adult is. An adult is self-sufficient and able to do everything on his own. And so fear is the reason why you still think that you need to do it by yourself. Like being kicked out of my apartment, losing my car. You know, it's like it's really not that mystical. The reason why we're afraid is because we have perceptions of lack, and we have perceptions of being able to be hurt and vulnerable in some way. That's why this paragraph was saying that I needed to devote my day to the idea that there's no substitute for the will of God. And then the course says, then part of me go, well, what's the will of God? And then the course says, well, the will of God is that you have complete happiness. See, because I was getting ready to answer what that was based on the things I learned as a child growing up instead of listening to what the course is saying. It says, well, and then God is just another word for love. So what is love's will for me? Well, love's will is to have complete happiness. So if it's love, it's supposed to be the complete happiness. Love is 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 complete happiness that never ends. Love is complete happiness that only grows and expands but never ends. Love is a complete happiness that includes everybody and not just one of us. Now, based on that definition, I have not allowed myself to experience complete happiness yet. Because I've never had a happiness that didn't end. I've never had a happiness that didn't change. I never had a happiness that didn't have a hole in it somewhere. I never had a happiness that I was afraid that was not elusive in some way. So based on what the Course is saying, Earl, you've never experienced happiness. Yeah. You haven't experienced real happiness yet, which means you haven't experienced real love yet. So how upset can I be disappointed with other people who've never given me real love in the first place? Of course they were going to disappoint me and I was going to disappoint myself. We weren't giving each other real love. If this definition is correct. So that's what you have to do. You have to give yourself the premise, and then you turn around and then you go, if you want to make it practical, you say, how many areas of my life would this premise work? Okay, have I ever had a relationship where I didn't feel some fear and some guilt and some anger and some anxiety in? Have you ever had a relationship that you didn't feel some anger, some anxiety, some guilt in at some time or another? I'm asking the group.
No.
No. Okay. So based on the definition that we just had, have you experienced real love yet? No. Then what would then the court says, well, okay, then if I wasn't experiencing love, listen to me now. If you wasn't experiencing love, you were experiencing fear. Okay, so that means that what we call love must be just an attractive appearance of fear. It's just fear in an appearance that we think is really cool. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to get on the whole relationship thing. But I am going to say that God is with me, I can't be fooled. God is with me, I can't be fooled. Now, when I started telling myself that God was with me so I couldn't be fooled, and if I got in a relationship with somebody and I was fooling myself about the fact that they really cared about me or were compatible with me or loved me, then the flaws of that relationship would reveal itself instantly. I would call it the relationship didn't go well, but the truth was I got my wish. God was with me and I wasn't deceived. So a lot of times when you say, I want to know the truth, you're really saying, oh, well, I want to see everything that's not true. Well, if you're a miserable person, then pretty much everything in your life is not true. So all of a sudden you see that most of the stuff you're doing, the people you're around, all of it's not working for you. Because you asked to see the truth.
Yeah.
Okay? Then the next thing that happens when you ask to see the truth is you're going to realize you're the one that's creating the situation that you're upset about. That's the other truth that people don't want to see. But when you say you want the truth, you're going to start finding out that you're not a victim of a freaking thing that's ever happened to you ever your whole life. And nothing that's going on right now is being created by anything but you, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. Okay, so the court says that he says I should give it up, not because it's bad, not because it's guilty. I just give it up because it don't work. I'm stopped doing stuff now, not because it's bad or sinful. It's like I just don't work. Just like for me, smoking cigarettes doesn't work. But it doesn't mean I'm condemning the other parts of myself to smoke cigarettes. I mean, I don't know what's best for them. I've seen on TV when they asked people who was 110 years old how they lived to be 110, they said they took a swig of whiskey every day and smoked a cigarette. And then I've seen people who are the vegetarians, microbiotics and mineralbiotics and vegetables off the leaves and everything else. And they got colds every day. So I've seen people in any situation that people said should be healing for everybody, and seen people who did not go along with their program.
Right.
I've seen people sick who were vegetarians and people sick who eat meat.
Yes.
I've seen people well who do drugs, and I've seen people in bad shape who do drugs. So that means to me that there's some other factor that's coming into play other than what they're doing on the outside. What's really coming into play is their own belief system and what they believe about themselves. But even more than that, what's happening is that they're experiencing the optimum learning condition for them to come to the realization that they're loved. That's what everybody's doing. From the person with leukemia, to the person that's stranded in the Sudan, to the person that's stranded in the penthouse in New York. Every one of those people are in the optimum situation for them to learn the truth about themselves and what love and who they really are is. It's only our judgments that make us feel like we can determine what's best for everybody else. That's what the truth teaches, which is a trip for people who are caretakers, right? And so then it goes on to say, isn't this an exchange that you would want? The world would gladly make the exchange if the world knew the exchange could be made. It's God's teachers, which the course calls us, God's demonstrators, love's demonstrators, who must teach that this exchange can be made. What exchange? The exchange of my fear and upset and miserable life and my perception for a life of love and joy and peace and consistency and stability and harmony and abundance. It's up to me to make that choice. And it says the world would gladly make that choice if it knew it could be made. It's us who must teach that this new choice can be made. And so it's our function to make sure that we've learned that we can make a new choice. So if I'm going to teach anybody else that they can make a new choice, then I got to learn that I can make a new choice. So I don't care what I'm going through right now, Earl. You can make a choice to experience something completely different from what you're going through right now. And everybody in this room can make that choice to not depend on themselves alone, and to make that choice to start learning how to depend on their source, which is what magic is. In other words, I can make the choice starting today that I'm not going to make decisions separate from God. I'm not going to make decisions separate from guidance. I'm not going to make decisions separate from truth. So the part of me that wants to blame you, the truth says I'm the creator of the way that I'm feeling. So I'm going to go with the truth. And even though I want to blame your butt, I'm going to say I'm the one that's creating this situation as I see it. See, I got to live it, but I don't have to believe it at first. I have to say it even if I don't believe it at first. Because that's how I learned to think the way I already think today. I learned to think the way I think today because somebody taught me, and I learned to think the way I'm thinking today. And so the new thinking is also going to have to be repeated, but it doesn't take as long for the new teaching to take hold as the old teaching, because the new teaching is based on what's true. So the new teaching gets the whole universe supporting it, where to be miserable, you have to do that on your own without a lot of help. Because most of the people in the world are not interested in making you unhappy. There's only the people you care about the most that's doing that. Right?
Yeah.
Right? If you would be honest, most of your upset your entire life has not come from what a stranger did to you. I would say 90% of your upset your whole life, including physical abuse, came from someone you knew. Strangers, I went to a Reggae on the Rocks thing yesterday, and it was an incredible amount of love in there. And it was like, you know, some people sitting in front of me, and they had, I don't know how they got it in there, how they even got through the day. You know, they search you when you come in there with the place, but they had like the best spread I've ever seen. Matter of fact, I took a picture of it. I asked when I take a picture of the spread that they had next to them on the bench before where the people were performing. And they said, you know, well, you can do better than that, you know. Hey, you can have some of it. They started sharing with me wine and cheese and and then the people behind me were trying to share some stuff. It wasn't quite time to even begin to take. And so it was really a trip to, so within an hour, everybody around me was sharing whatever they had with each other. So I could either choose to be in an experience of unity and oneness, or I could have chosen to see those people as strangers who I didn't know. So my point is, the strangers are not the ones that hurt me. It's most of my classes will consist of people I don't know on a personal level, and they're more supportive in a way than people who I know. If I depended on the people I knew for my bills to get paid, I'd be out on the street with them signs like everybody else. It's the people who don't know me, who receive through me, who are most generous. It's always that way. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the checkout person. I don't know the service person in the restaurant. I don't know who cooked the food in the back. I don't know who built the building. If I was to be honest about it, all the good things I experience in life come more from the people that I have no conscious relationship with at all. And the grief that I give myself comes from the special relationships that I form with the people that I think I know. Right? So what those people are doing in my life is they're bringing me the things that would allow me to reclaim my power, because they present me with the things within me that I need to take a look at in order to be healed. So my special relationships are also helping me as much as the strangers, because my special relationships are making me aware of what I need to release within myself to be happy. So and they're also showing me what's really cool about myself to allow me to be happy. You follow what I'm saying? Okay, so you're going to learn if you do nothing. I'll say that again. Your waking up to who you really are has nothing to do with whether you read books, go to classes or workshops, or any of the stuff you do in the outer world. Your life is set up to wake you up. It's going to happen whether you consciously make a decision for that to happen or not, because you decided that before you even came into this experience and started to play this game. You set it up. So there's nothing that comes in your life that wasn't ordered by you as part of the game you chose to play before you were born here. And it's all set up for you to win. It's not set up for you to lose. And so we get the rule books that come in various forms to try to tell us how to get out of it. Now, if you're at the phase of the game where you're just trying to set the game up, you're trying to convince yourself you're limited, then you're never going to pay attention to anything that's going to make you happy. Because that's not the point of the game right now. Right now, you're in the phase of forgetting how powerful you are, so that you can remember how powerful you are. That's the game. The game is let me forget my power, then let me remember my power. So he's telling us, isn't this an exchange that you want? If you can make the exchange for complete joy for everything that's causing you pain, group, would you want to do that?
Yes.
Would you want to do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Say it again.
Yes.
I know nothing runs people away from a class more than actually participating in it, but I'm going to take that chance, okay? Nothing clears a room faster than people participating. It really does. I've done this for a lot of years, but I'm willing to take that chance because I got to go to another level now. And I'm not taking no prisoners. It might be, I was saying, first like it's going to be me and Cheryl there, so okay, you bet, Cheryl. I said, man, I can talk dirty around Cheryl, so it's okay. I can just be myself. I don't have to worry about, you better say a curse word, will the person explode? You know, because they're so spiritual. You know, spiritual people don't say swear words. It's so crazy. You know, like, that really determines something. You know what I'm saying? Jesus. Oh, you mean if I was stabbing you with a knife, it would be okay if I wasn't calling you an MF? You was more important the words that's being used than the actions that's actually being done. You know what I'm saying? It's like kind of, we realize, sometimes the chorus is saying, I don't know how to break it to you all, but you're nuts!
Yeah.
The reason why y'all look out into outer space and never see signs of any life, no matter how far you look, is they've gotten as far, intelligent beings have gotten as far away from you all as they possibly can. They don't want you to find them. The aliens are not, you know what I'm saying? They're not abducting people, they're dropping them off. They're nuts. You know, I'm in the class, I'm like the chorus, like, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're totally insane. That's what attracted me to it. He said, and when you're totally, you know, Jesus says in the course, if you're totally insane, then you're beyond reason. And so nothing that nobody's going to tell you is going to make any difference. And right now you're just totally asleep. And I know people like that you can't use reason with. Have you met people like that? That you just tried to let's just do this reasonable. Let me talk reasonable. They don't hear you out. He says that people who can read books like this and go to classes like we go to, he calls those the ones who are partially sane. He said those who are partially sane can listen to reason. But he says if you listen to reason, what the coolest thing is about listening to reason is that when you listen to reason, then what's unreasonable just drops away. So you don't have to try to make it go away. It just goes away when you use reason. Reason gets rid of madness. Madness can't hang around reason. For instance, if I'm going to love somebody, then I'm going to free them, right? That's what a sane person does. So a person who would see love as limiting, they wouldn't be interested in having a relationship with me. So just because I'm choosing for my freedom, all the people who would limit me would drop away. I wouldn't have to force them out. They wouldn't want to be in a relationship with me. You don't have to force it. If you be true to yourself, everything that's not compatible with you just goes away. Unless you hate yourself so much that you try to make sure you keep them. Which I have done. I put the most energy in my life in people who I was using the most to hurt myself with. And I let the people go who I felt the most peace with quicker than anybody. I don't know about you, but I've done that. But I don't do that anymore. Now it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to feel this feeling, I'm going to feel this grief, I'm going to feel this loss, and what's next? I don't pretend I don't feel it if it's somebody I wish was still there. I feel it, but I don't run after them. You know why? Because I'm cool. I know I'm a cool person. I know I'm a loving person. I know I'm as sane as I can be person. I know I want to become a more loving person. I know I'm not trying to attack anybody. I know I'm trying to be real. That person don't see that. That's their problem. I'm not going to try to change myself so that you can like me. I'm likable. And people who are likable recognize me. We see each other and we just like each other. Like the people last night. I didn't have to go through making the two young ladies who offered the food, get to know that I wasn't somebody that was a mad serial killer looking like a cute black dude. You know what I'm saying? I can understand. Let me pass this around. It's my email list. Please, going into the fall, it's going to be important that I be able to communicate with people and let them know, and I will do a better job of that, when I'm here and when I'm not, because I got a lot of stuff that's going to be done differently. I'm starting a class on Tuesday, the first Tuesday in September, from 7 to 8:30, called The Way of Mastery of Everything.
Yay.
And every week, I'm gonna be covering different topics and different subjects that I'm gonna be mailing out to people ahead of time, letting them know what I'm gonna talk about, so they can make the choice about whether or not that's a session that they want to attend. Because I'm taking no prisoners, so it's gonna be really, really cool. And also, I'm gonna be doing more advanced mind training, one-day workshops that I can take. That my goal is to take people from A to Z in a subject that day. Like if you come that day, we're gonna go from insane relationship to sane relationship. You know, from what it is that blocks us in our prosperity to exactly what it is, how we need to see it in the end, all in that day. Because some people are not every week people. Sometimes we just want to hit it and not have that break in between. But it's a lot that I want to learn right now. So it's a lot I want to teach right now. But I want to teach it to people who really want to learn it from it. So I'm going to be so intense that anybody that is jabbing not going to want to come around me, no way. And that's going to be cool. Because I don't care about the money. I'm going to be taken care of, even though I'm going to ask for something. You know, because I got to learn how to receive too. You know? So I don't have a problem about asking. You know, yeah.
Are you going to be using the book?
I'm going to be using a lot of different books.
I mean, The Way of Mastery.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. I'm gonna have something that's gonna be way of mastery. That's why I say the way of mastery. This not gonna be what I'm calling it ultimately, but I'm just telling y'all that that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be me taking different subjects and then working those subjects, and then us coming out with practical application of it. It's not gonna be another sit around, debate, philosophize, walk out the door, do the same thing. And not, part of the class is gonna be dedicated to theory. Another part of the class is gonna be dedicated to application of the ideas. Because I can't ride a bicycle without riding a bicycle. You know what I'm saying? At some point, I'm gonna have to live what it is that I'm talking about. I'm gonna have to put forth some effort. And people who don't want to put forth effort, then I can't go nowhere with them. We can't play. I want to play. I can't play with people who don't want to go deeper. You know, I want to go deeper because there's a great awakening happening right now. You almost have to be blind not to see what's going on right now. It's so much awakening going on. And we've got to all join because we've gone as far as we can go as singular consciousness. We've gone as far as we can go as individuals trying to do it on our own. Now everything is going to be revealed to us. There are going to be things that you don't learn. There are going to be things that you have revealed. Beyond learning is revealing. So one part of the spiritual journey is learning. The next part of the spiritual journey is having it revealed to you. So if somebody revealed something to you, you didn't learn it. If I was revealed to you that I was really, Tom Cruise, you didn't learn I was Tom Cruise. I revealed to you I was Tom Cruise. So revelation is different from studying and learning. So some of us are to the point in our spiritual growth that it's time for things to be revealed to us that were previously hidden from us by us. So my teaching is not, so as far as I'm concerned, the time of learning is over. What I'm doing from this point out is the time of remembering and the time of sharing. You know, it's like, by the time you get to the point that you're willing to admit that you're responsible for how you see things, you're at the level that you're ready to start to be a true creator in the world. If you're still walking around believing that you're a victim of everything that's happened to you, then you still need to learn indirectly the truth, which is, going to your guides and whatever you do, but that would make you look outside of your own ego for a minute. It's like spirit's no longer having to convince me that there is a greater intelligence for me to tap into, to listen to. So why should I sit here acting like I'm still thinking that way? I don't think that way. I don't see myself as a black man anymore. I haven't seen myself as a black man for years. Why am I pretending that I see myself as a black man? So I won't freak anybody out. But what about the other people not seeing themselves as white men, white women, Indian men, Asian? But those are the beings I need to be hanging out with. The ones that know they're spiritual beings having a physical experience of being a human being. I'm not trying to appeal to those who that idea is crazy. I just want them to have their experience, but doggone it, I want to hang out with the people that's getting they are innocent, they want to believe they're innocent, they want to believe they're powerful, they want to believe that they're joined, they want to believe that they're connected, they want to believe that they can create their experience. They're ready to get off what they think their daddy did to them when they were 10 years old. There are people who already feel that way, who just want to be reminded of the truth. And that's what I want, so that's what I'm going to do. But so to do that, then we have to bring in all kinds of new stuff that will challenge us and make us go, ugh, ah, ooh, ah. You know, did you feel good about some of the stuff you hear? Some of the stuff makes you want to slam your book and walk out of the door. Because there's only one thing people remember, and that's what makes them feel something. That's the only thing people really remember. Even if somebody comes to my class and they hate me, they'll remember me. Somebody comes to my class and they love what I said and they felt, they'll remember me. But people who come to the class who are not touched in any way whatsoever, as if I never existed. It's not thinking that people want, it's a feeling that people want. It's the feeling I think I'm gonna get if I have that special lover. It's the feeling I think I'm gonna get if I get that $1 million. It's the feeling I think I'm gonna get if I have a ton of students that was still my goal, which it isn't. You know, it's like I was always looking for a feeling. It's the feeling that I'm looking for. I'm hoping this situation or circumstance or thing make me feel good, feel happy. We looking for feelings. So I don't want to be around people I don't feel no more. And if I don't feel them, I know why. You know why? Because I'm not the one giving up the feeling for them. Because the only thing that's lacking in any situation is what I'm not giving. The only thing that's lacking in any situation is what I'm not giving. The only thing that's lacking in any situation is what I am not giving. The only thing that's missing in my life with anyone is what I'm not giving. That's the only thing missing in your life is what you are not. Like if I'm with you and I say, don't seem like you really like me. Well, the truth is, I'll feel it when I like you. Because as soon as I let the feeling of love come out for you, I feel it immediately. So if I don't feel love in any situation, it's just because I'm not the one giving it. I'm waiting because it comes through me. So if it comes through me, then when I give it, I have to feel it. I feel my anger when it comes through me. It's so good to know that I'm never feeling anybody else. I don't want to think I'm feeling you in a way. Because then I got to have you around to feel it. But if I could be the one generating the feeling, then I can give it to myself any way I want to, and anytime I want to, and you can be the catalyst that helped me do that, sure. But I'm not depending on you to feel it. So then I found out that the way I feel about people is just a choice that I make. I can like you if I want to. And I can not like you if I don't want to, and that's the way it's always been. Now, how do you apply that to your everyday life? The way you apply it to your everyday life is I claim that each and every one of you are creating your reality, and that you're innocent, and that you're powerful, and that God is with you, and you're not a victim, and you're creating your reality. I accept that for you whether you believe it or not. That's how I live the truth for everybody. So you can pretend like you don't know, and you can tell me you're the victim, and you can tell me that if somebody else outside of you changed, then you would be happy. That's fine. We all play that game. But see, my job is to not believe one friggin' thing you're telling me. But I'm not going to tell you I don't. I'm not going to tell you I don't believe you when you say that you're a victim. I'm not believing you when you say you're not enough. I'm not believing you when you're saying you can't be loved. I'm not believing you when you say the problem is. I'm not believing you. But I'm not going to tell you I'm not believing you. Because then I would be forgetting that it's only important that I accept the truth for myself. And you'll like me more. You don't like the people who say, well, what did you do to create that? You want to strangle each other. You're going through something and go, what did you do to create that? How did you create that? How did you create this cup going upside to your head? How did you create that? Well, that's what I want to do right now. Why? Because it irritates me. Why does it irritate me? Because I do it. Because I do it. That's why you're irritating me. Because I do it too. If I didn't do it too, I wouldn't be irritated with you. If I didn't do it too, I wouldn't be irritated with you. If I didn't do it too, I wouldn't be irritated with you. If I didn't do it too, I wouldn't be irritated with you. If I didn't do it too. So, what does that tell me? Wherever I'm irritated and whoever irritates me the most, that's who I'm the most like. Whoa, don't like that. Isn't it good we don't have to believe this stuff?
Yeah.
If I had to believe that, I'd be offended. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe the person that irritates me the most is the one that's like me. Else why would they be bugging me? Why would they be bugging me if they would not reminding me? So it's like I go back to the question. It says, it's God's teachers who must teach that it can be done. The choice can be made. And so I read it in a way that makes it more meaningful. So it is our function to make sure that we've learned it. No risk is possible throughout the day except to put your trust in magic. That's the only risk throughout the day, is to put your trust in magic. And who can tell me what magic is?
Anything I do on my own.
Anything you do on your own. Anything you think you're doing by yourself. Anything you think you're doing without God is magic. And though he says, why? He says, why is it that you want to make sure that you don't put your trust in doing everything on your own? He says, because it's only this that leads to pain. So if I'm going through pain, what this book is telling me is that I should tell myself, I'm not going through pain right now because that person left me. I'm going through pain right now because I put my trust in magic. I'm going through pain right now because in some way, shape, form, or fashion, I'm not believing the truth or remembering the truth, or I think I'm on my own, or I think I'm alone right now. And that's why I'm feeling this pain of separation. I am, the only risk possible for me all day long is to forget the truth. He said that's the only risk possible all day. He said you're going to get out, you're going to walk out of this door, Earl, and you're going to start thinking like people. You're going to start thinking like people think. Woo! I go from the infinite creator of the universe to, oh my God, Romney and Obama, oh, what's going to happen? Oh my goodness, oh my God. Because they are going to determine my future. That's the insanity. You know, I better not eat that piece of cake, I'm going to get about 30 pounds. If you feel guilty about it, yes, you will. But even if you gain 30 pounds, it still would be optimal learning. That's what you would call it. I'm in my optimal learning weight. 600 pounds. I learned God in a minute. Give me 3 more cherry pies. The problem with laughing at it like that and looking at it like that is that you probably dropped 600 pounds. That's what people don't realize, that they do stuff for the guilt that it makes them feel and not the attraction of the thing they think they're attracted to. Because the Course teaches that in order to stay afraid, you have to be afraid. And fear makes you feel separate. So fear and separation are the same thing. So a person who wants to be separate is a person by definition who's ordering fearful events to their life and fearful things into their mind. Because they want to be separate. Because if you don't feel afraid, you join. If you don't feel disconnected, you connect. That's what happened last night. I realized when I was sitting around me that I was probably sitting around a lot of nice people wondering if I was a nice person. That everybody was, that's what happened to me when I used to be a door-to-door cold contact cable vision salesperson in one of my life. And and I said, the Holy Spirit, you know who wants cable, I don't. You know what my quota is, you know, because I really want to teach. That's before I started doing it full time. So I really want to teach, and I need to be free to teach. And so I walked out of Walgreens one day and got hired by Cablevision. They gave me full benefits, but I only had to report 1 day a week with a minimum of so many sales. And so I would go out on Friday night, and I said, Holy Spirit, you know who it is that needs the cable. I would get my quota on Friday night, have the benefits that I needed at that time to take care of my responsibilities, and then be able to go travel when I could to try to do my first teaching ministry stuff. Holy Spirit, the higher self, created where my boss also secretly wanted to be a speaker, so he would go out of his way to try to make it easier for me to be able to do that. Then all my co-workers at the Cablevision, when we come in, whenever there be some issue, anything would come up, I would always say, all I want is peace. That's all I want out of this situation is peace. That's it. I just want peace. I want peace for y'all. I want peace for me. I'm on the job. People tell me stuff like this don't work on jobs. Okay, but I'm on the job, right? So after a while, they nicknamed me Peace. So whenever they wanted me for anything, they say, hey, Peace, Peace, come over here. Peace Purdy. Where you at? I need you, brother. Come over here. So by me standing up for my truth and claiming my truth, but doing it in a loving, judgmental way, I watched Spirit work every situation that I went into in a way that I was still able to do my function and still be taken care of it. And I tell people all the time that it happened, but I wasn't shucking and jiving. I was getting up in the morning, going to the park, reading the chapter of the Course, doing my work. But I wasn't doing like most people saying, God, help me, help me, help me, help me, but they're not doing a damn thing. But saying, God, help me, help me, help me. Then I'm focusing in and I'm studying and I'm meditating and I'm doing anything consistent but the thing that's upsetting them. That's the only consistency that the fearful person has. They consistently do the thing that doesn't work all day. Then if you say take 10 friggin' minutes to focus on something that could change your whole life, they don't have time for that. They don't think it's too hard. I don't know what you mean. How can I say something I don't believe? How can I say something I don't have to accept? How can I say something that's startling? That's the easiest curriculum in the world. Say what you don't believe in order to get helped. Oh, phew. This is the lazy man's guide to enlightenment here, right? But the Course in Miracles says there's an incredible thing that happens for everyone, and that is that they reach their limit, and some people's limit is a lot more than other people's limits. So I stop judging everybody around me. You know, how do I know when a person is sincere about a change? They are doing something about it. Up until then, I figure they must want the situation that they're in, and I stop worrying about it. And I go, I surround you with light, I give you the God, let peace extend from my mind to yours, you are sustained by the love of God. Because you've been getting the answer over and over again for years, but you haven't done anything, which means you want it the way that it is, and there's a payoff in it that you're not ready to give up yet. And just stop saying you're a victim of it, and you wish, no, you don't want to lose that 50 pounds. Why don't you get up in the morning and say, I don't want to lose the 50 pounds. Don't get up in the morning and say, I really want to lose the 50 pounds, but I just haven't been able to discipline myself. No, you don't want to lose the 50 pounds. Say, I don't want to lose the 50 pounds. 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 It serves some purpose that is more important to me than the 50 pounds. What is that? The purpose of me staying separate from God, separate from love, separate from the truth. Do I have to believe that? No. But he says, go ahead and say it anyway because it's the truth and you're going to find that out one day. So go ahead and save yourself some time and say it ahead of time. It's like if you didn't believe I was Earl Purdy and I told you I was, but you decided to call me Earl Purdy even if you didn't believe it. Sooner or later you find out, no, he was Earl Purdy all the time. So I really was calling on Earl Purdy correctly. So you can go ahead and just admit to the truth before you believe it, because in the end you're going to go, oh my God, I was the one that created every single thing that I've gone through. I'm the one that's making myself unhappy or happy. I'm the one that made myself feel guilty. I'm the one that's keeping my abundance and prosperity from my... In the end, you're just going to admit that everything these books are saying is the truth. That you are free, that you are loved, that you're not alone. So I just go ahead and say it even if I don't believe it. My trust in it after all these years have gotten to the point that if it was a choice between what the Course says being true and what I'm telling myself, I just go with the Course. I don't understand how that might be true, but over and over again, I've seen that what I've learned here is true. So I'm going to stop all this stuff and make a commitment and say, okay, I'm going to accept that this is true and I'm going to live as best I can like it's true, which freaks people out. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, silver Toyota wagon out there?
Yeah.
Really? You're going to be towed.
It's on the street?
It's
It's
a
on the driveway.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're gonna ask for her optimum learning situation not to be that her Toyota is towed. that there's something about this situation that'll turn out in such a way that she feels complete peace.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so then it goes on to say that what we got to go to the point is that we go, there is no will but God's. Now, who can tell me what I said the will of God is for us? Happiness. So that's the same as saying that there's no will but the will for my happiness. That there's no will but God's. That's it. My Creator wants me to be happy. My Creator wants me to have peace. My Creator wants me to have joy. That's it. I'm not going to argue with that. I may not know how to do it. I might not even see how I'm blocking it, but I'm going to accept that there's no will but God's. He says that God's teachers know that this is so, and they have learned that everything but God's will is magic. Everything but love is magic. Everything but truth is magic. Then it goes on to say, all belief in magic, which is relying on yourself alone, is maintained by just one simple-minded illusion. Why do we keep doing this stuff that's really not true? Because it will look like it works. He says, right there, it says, all belief in magic is maintained by just one simple-minded illusion, that it works. That somehow you think trying to do it on your own works, or you think that feeling guilty works, or you think that getting angry, because some people who are guilty and angry enough, they respond to your guilt and your anger. So it looks like being angry at people and attacking people works. It looks like letting somebody know how upset you are with them will work. It looks like they'll try to change the way they treat you. I mean, haven't y'all experienced that? That you've gotten upset and it looked like it worked? That's what he says. Well, that's what you got to realize, that the belief in it is maintained because you think it works. But the truth is, it doesn't work at all. Because first of all, anybody that you're attacking is not loving you more. They might do what you say, but they're not loving you more. So you're not really getting the real payoff, which is the love. You know, believing that I take care of myself, it might look like I'm the one that's taking care of myself, and that if I didn't teach, I wouldn't be taken care of. So it'd make me want to teach even more if I was doing it for money. But the truth is, that's not what's taking care of me. But what happens, the Course says, is that you'll reach a point when you study it that the things that will be happening to you will be so stupendous that you know it couldn't have happened from you. That it just be too much for you to take credit for. You just go, it ain't no friggin' way that I didn't have my boarding pass. I asked God that I need to catch that plane from Canada to London, and discovered I didn't have a boarding pass, and I need to get back inside. That I walked up to the security people and said, hey, I don't have a boarding pass, but I need to go inside and catch a plane. And they said, okay. And they did it twice. My ego couldn't have figured that out. My ego couldn't have made that happen. I can give you story after story like that just doesn't make it. And that's, if you really study, which some of you I'm sure are doing, and really devote yourself to the truth, you'll start seeing the same things. You'll start seeing things happen that defy reason, to the point that you know there must be something else at work in your life other than your ego. But somebody who's not really focused in on this, they don't recognize it as fast, and they still give themselves credit because it looks like they're doing it on their own, which is great. But then it'll get to a point you'll go, this couldn't possibly be me doing this. It's too much for this person I just met, or this situation I just get. It's more than my ego. It's more than I could have even imagined for me. I couldn't even wrap my head around this right here. And he says you're going to have more and more revelations and surprises, more revelations and surprises. Then how can you prepare for a surprise, really? You just have to be at a level that you feel like as long as it's loving, I'm wide open to it. You know, I don't want to plan a future with you and think I know everything that's going to happen in the future with you. But I would like to have a future with you where I knew the only thing that was going to happen was going to be something joyful. And then we could let the form it takes take care of itself, and then it'll give us a whole bunch of new experiences with each other that'll keep our relationship fresh and exciting. Why do you think? Course of Miracles says the only reason why a person gets bored with another person is that there's nothing else they think they can steal from them. I went, woo, that's not, woo, woo. I was like, whoa, that's cool. Yeah, I'm bored with you. Yeah, because you don't see nothing else you can get. You've gotten this, you think you've gotten as much as you can out of me, so it's like a, and there's nothing but the husk. That's the way we do stuff. No, I'm bored with you. Give me a French peach. Just ate this one up, and I knew. Notice that in my process, I ain't giving nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, hey, Peach, what can I do for you? I'm like, and so I had to admit to myself through the course, you know something, Earl? You know why your relationships have gone the way they've gone. You were not giving real love. You were not taking responsibility. You were trying to get, so of course it went that way. But you're not guilty, you're not sinful, they're not guilty, they're not sinful. That was an error. That was an error in the way that you do relationships. That's it, no more, no less. But you learn from it, and you got some good juice out of it, and bless yourself, and then see if you can apply what you've learned to the next relationship that you have, not beating yourself up for the next 20 years, won't let yourself have a relationship because the other one didn't work out.
Right.
So I'm going to stop here. Would you acknowledge yourself for hearing me talk to rant and rave? It's a rave. Just like the kids have. It's a rave. It's a rave. You know what I'm saying? Because you deserve to be happy.
Yes.
You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be happy.
Thank you.
So that's why it ends up by saying, all through your training, every day, every hour, and even every minute and every second, must you learn to recognize the forms of magic, which is relying on yourself alone, and then perceive that it's meaningless, Fear is being withdrawn from it because you know that it's not going to hurt you, so you can let it go. He says, and that's how the gates of heaven are reopened. That's how the light can shine again on your untroubled mind. Here's the process again. As much as I can all day, I want to remind myself I'm sustained by the love of God and not the magic that I'm coming up with. It doesn't really mean anything that I'm doing this, so it doesn't have to mean that I'm feeling guilty or sinful about it. So I stop being afraid because I'm not going to be punished. It's not going to hurt who I really am. He says, and then your happiness will be reopened to you because none of this has anything to do with guilt or condemnation or that you're bad. So we got to let go of that thought system completely. We're going to do this because it allows us to have more happiness. We're not doing this because you're a bad person if you don't do it this way. It has nothing to do with your not being a good person. I really appreciate this. I teach Courts and Miracles full time, so I appreciate you all allowing the Holy Spirit to share with me in this form. And I'm also telling the Holy Spirit, whatever it is in my life, or whatever it is that keeps me from at any level blocking any abundance in my mind, or feeling guilty, or feel like I don't deserve it, or I'm not enough, anything that keeps me from allowing my abundance in my life, I'm willing to have you remove it from me, show it to me, not hide it from me, show me how I'm creating it. I want to own 100% of my experience, and 100% of what I'm experiencing in my experience is being my own personal choice and my own personal creation. Because I know abundance is my natural state, and when I'm not crazy, that's all I see surrounding me. When I'm not feeling guilty, that's all I see surrounding me. It's the abundance that surrounds me and is with me. So I'm willing to own my stuff now. So that's the thing. I'm ready to go, I'm 100% responsible for what I'm experiencing. I'm 100% responsible for what I'm experiencing. Nobody else is creating anything that's going on. Everything that's happening to me, I'm asking for it. Everything that everybody does, says, around me, I'm the one that's requesting it as an infinite being, as a child of God. That's living the truth. That's living the truth. But the minute I slip back into, it's your fault, you're the one that's doing it, if you change, I'll be happy, then I'm back to sleep again. I'm back in the cycle of birth and death and pain. The problem is, I used to tell people I was doing that who also weren't trying to do that. And all you do when you do that is you bring up the defensiveness and the opposition of the people around you, and they'll try to convince you why that's insane and why you're insane. And so that's just your own subconscious belief that you're insane for trying to do it yourself. So they're really mirroring back to you your own subconscious doubts about what you're doing. So then I understood why the wiser and more advanced spiritual beings kept their mouths shut. I always wondered if they're more advanced beings than me, why are they so quiet? Have you ever asked yourself that? Well, there is this higher intelligence, why isn't it saying anything? Then the more I wake up, the more I understand. First of all, it's not giving any power to any of the things that I'm telling myself is not true. So it's not supporting my illusion. So it's actually helping it drop away because it's not even addressing me like it's real. So then I find myself doing it with everybody else. Like if I make a new revelation that's true for me, like I'm willing to, like I'm telling you today that as far as I'm going from this moment forward, I'm going to say I'm responsible for everything that's happened to me, whether I believe it or not. I'm going to apply that to myself without saying that to anybody, so that I don't have to hear anybody's opinion. I don't want to hear what anybody else thinks about that. I don't want to hear their perception of it, their interpretation of it, how I should do it differently. I don't want to hear their opinion. So what you do, you take a revelation, something that's very important to you, something that feels right to you, something that inspires you. That's how you know it's a revelation, because it turns you on. And then you just go do it. And then you tell people what you've done after you've done it. So when I get through doing the plan that's just been given to me, then you all know about it. You see what I mean? It's like, because what? Because then why it's powerful and fresh and inspirational, I'm not letting it's not negative, I'm just not letting any other contradictory, opposite thoughts come up, because things manifest faster when there's no opposition to it. Not when there's a lot of opposition to it. So when you say things to people, they're comparing what you're saying to the curriculum they've made up for themselves. And so if what you say doesn't agree with what they've decided is best for them, they almost feel compelled to correct you. Not because they're trying to be, you know what I'm saying, they have to. If I've decided I'm going to live a blue life, and then Earl just walked up and said, God, I just had this revelation. I'm getting ready to live this red life. It's going to be the most awesome red. They're going to make, well, you sure you shouldn't, you sure red's the way? Why? Because they've chosen blue. And you just introduced an opposite thought. But if I had never said it, I never would have heard that. And I would just go ahead and start living my red life. And then I'd end up around red people.
And Crips.
You know what I'm saying? Not Crips, because I wouldn't choose that one. But if I did, it would be for my optimal learning
Yeah.
situation. So that's what you got to look at it. Like, that's my optimal learning situation. Earl is living his optimal learning situation right today. This is my, the people in my life, the situations in my life, finances in my life, what's happening in my career, my health, my body. I'm in my optimal learning mode right now. So therefore, there's nothing wrong with my life. There's nothing to be fixed in my life. There's nothing to be corrected in my life. And can you just feel that? You go, ah. That's how you can tell, like when you really get, you go, ah. So, all right, I love you. There's gonna be a quick announcement here from Sister Sheila, and then we're gonna go out in the lab.